And then reaction, Iron Man is back. New Marvel Universe plot leak breakdown. See what the cosmic culture has to say about this and check this out. See what it's all about.
Iron Man is back. Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man is back. Well, according to the inside scoops that we've been hearing as of late, and we're going to break all of that down in today's video. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all things major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I'm your host, Chris, and yes, Iron Man is in the rumor mill yet again, and his return to the MCU, which we'll be talking about where, when, how, and why in today's video. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our other major movie and television news updates happening daily here on the channel. You can also follow me on my other socials, Instagram at Chris M. Rosser and Twitter at TheCultureChris. Links to both of those are in the description down below. I also really would like for those of you watching this video to consider this question, and then at the end, after I've made a few arguments, give me an honest answer based off of your opinion. Do you want to see Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, return to the MCU for whatever reason? Whether they bring his body back to life with some voodoo magic, or it's an AI in the place of Tony Stark, or some other means. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below at the end of the video, because I have a few different things I want to talk about, and there are several ways they could, especially now that we're in the multiverse saga, bring Iron Man back. So for starters, the inside scoop comes from the ever-reliable My Time to Shine Hello, who I believe was saving this specific scoop back for her 100,000th follower scoop. She was teasing for some time, when I get to 100,000 followers on Twitter, I'm going to drop a big massive scoop and break the internet, which, well, she's done. So, the scoop is, Iron Man is back, baby, and he's not only back for Secret Wars or anything like that, but he's going to return as early as Armor Wars. In fact, Armor Wars is now trending on Twitter, possibly for the first time, because of this scoop. A lot of people are talking about the possibility of Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, showing up in Armor Wars. So that's the news, that's the quote-unquote plot leak, the inside scoop. But now we really have a responsibility as a committed fan base to discuss how and if this is what we want to see happen. So let's just touch the merits of the possibility. Iron Man, very, very, very iconic and stable character in the MCU, and yes, we have been feeling the void of his absence. Even talking about future Avengers teams, when they have the lineup and the scoops and the insides, and this is who's going to show up as an Avenger, you really are missing mantle and staple characters like Iron Man and Captain America. And that's evident, and that is a hard place to fill. Completely understand that, and that's not to say that we aren't excited for other characters or heroes, but these are iconic characters who have been following through in the MCU since the beginning. With that being said, he is gone. He sacrificed himself. He hit the big snap. And that was a really big turning moment, not just for the character, but for the MCU. And to undo that by bringing him back to life could very well harm or put a negative impact on the weight of that sacrifice. That's the first argument, that bringing him back in any way kind of diminishes his sacrifice. He gave it all, put himself in the crossfire, did the selfish thing, which is very un-Iron Man, to bring everybody back and to create a new world. So having him just show back up, well, that is going to undo that sacrifice. At the end of the day, there was no pain, there was no loss. But we've been several years without Iron Man now, and for me this changes a few things. A, everybody seems to want to see Iron Man, and I think even if you are on the side of the argument of, well, I don't want to undo the snap and the sacrifice, don't bring him back, there is a part of you that would love to see Iron Man pop up on the screen again and make some type of snarky comment and then fly away. However, I understand what you're saying. But now that the time has passed, the argument could be made, well, the sacrifice happened. Iron Man did what he did without any knowledge of him returning or coming back in any format, way, by any means. 100%. And that makes me feel like perhaps he could come back without harming the sacrifice. It wasn't an immediate return. We've spent years now with the knowledge every day, waking up, knowing, yep, Iron Man's still dead. Years now. So I think it wouldn't be inappropriate or diminish, in my perspective, the sacrifice. With that being said, I find it very unlikely that the Scarlet Witch is going to do any magic voodoo and bring him back to life, and we'll have zombie Tony Stark running around. In fact, it's much more likely that one of these options will be how we see Iron Man in the future. Either A, which is the most obvious, a variant. Now, it could be an exact spitting replica. It could look exactly like Tony Stark and have had almost the exact same experience, except on his planet, he didn't die during the invasion of Thanos. That is 100% a possibility, but not what's going to happen in Armor Wars, because Armor Wars really doesn't seem to have a whole lot of multiverse voodoo going on. And unless something pretty drastic happens before Armor Wars is released, I don't really see how Iron Man could be returned to the MCU in an organic and appropriate manner. So I'm going to say variant probably isn't going to be the way we see Iron Man for the first time again in the MCU, assuming this scoop is correct, and we will be seeing Iron Man in Armor Wars. Now, it makes perfect sense to see Iron Man in Armor Wars, considering that this all has to do with Tony Stark's technology falling into the wrong hands, and Rhodey, his best friend, trying to keep the Stark Empire alive, keep the name of Iron Man well, and yes, he'll be running around in the Iron Patriot armor. Now, something that is likely to happen and would be very appropriate is that Tony Stark left some things for his best friend Rhodey. And in that package of items, we could see something that is used to mend and fix the Iron Patriot, some of his old toys and belongings, some very Tony Stark stuff. And he's going to be going through it, and potentially he'll find a disc, a USB, heck, it could be a floppy disk, although that's unlikely. And it's going to contain some type of consciousness, some type of memory, some type of AI program created by Tony Stark. Now, whether that's just a simple video, like what we saw him saying goodbye to Morgan with, or if it's an entire AI system that will boot up into an Iron Man machine and completely run it on its own, we're going to have to wait to find out. But these are also options. Would you be okay with a robot version of Tony Stark who, with the help of Jarvis, or I suppose at the time it would have been Friday, was able to capture his consciousness in some type of AI format, which will then be transferred over either as an assistant to Rhodey in his suit, or to completely control the consciousness of the suit in itself. Now, these three options for me are the most logical and simple ways to bring Robert Downey Jr. back without going into the multiverse. A simple flashback where Rhodey is getting instruction from Tony prior to his death, the video or some type of projection monologuing to Rhodey the importance of keeping the Stark technology and the name of Stark safe, or the entire AI transformation where a consciousness is put into either a Jarvis-like system or into an Iron Man suit itself, and Tony Stark's able to actually exist among people as an AI because of his super brilliant mind and his capabilities of doing that. Now, I would highly expect at some point during Secret Wars or the Kang Dynasty to run into some Stark variants, whether that's Tom Cruise or either versions of Robert Downey Jr. or any type of variant. We've seen in Loki several Loki-looking variants and several not-so-Loki-looking variants. And in their multiverse or in their universe, they are all Loki. And this really will apply to Iron Man as well. And I expect to see several different versions of Captain America, Black Widow, and Iron Man, the core Avengers, to show up in variant form, because that's a really exciting thing to kind of view while you're going through the multiverse and Secret Wars. However, since this scoop pretty confidently boasts that Iron Man is back, baby, that we will be seeing him, and potentially even seeing him as early as Armor Wars, I would expect that maybe we're getting a little bit more than just a variant. And for me, since I did ask you the question, I'll answer it now. I would be stoked, absolutely over the moon, to see a AI version of Iron Man. I understand the argument of overturning the sacrifice and bringing him back and making it all worthless, but I think enough time has passed. We've suffered not having him a long enough time, and I would be over the moon to see Robert Downey Jr., even as an AI, returning. And I would be okay even to have him have control of a suit and not just be a Jarvis-like AI assistant, but rather an entire conscious being that can exist. And, you know, there's a lot of details that need to go into that to perfect it. I'm obviously speaking off the cuff, but explaining it so that it makes sense in the timeline, so that it looks good, so that the technology existed, all will need to be explained appropriately. But as far as me, as a fan, I would be super happy to see that. So let me know, now that you've listened to the video, what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think enough time has passed? Are you ready for Iron Man to return? However that may be. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thank you to everybody watching to the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell, and I'll be sure to catch all of you guys in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.
Please subscribe, like this video, and see you guys. Bye.